Hello everybody, this is AK. I am back. Thank you so much for the mind-blowing response to my last video. I am stunned like vegetable. I'm very happy that so many people like my video and have found it useful, helpful, entertaining, and I don't know what else to say. I have no words really. I'm just glad that you guys like the video, and I hope you like this video too. Okay, I will continue making videos, voicing my own videos as long as many people like what I'm doing, right? Keeps me going. Okay, so today's video, like you see on screen, 4 times our money. OMG, right? What? Isn't AK all about getting rich slow? I mean, 4 times our money. Well, getting rich slow is all fine and good, but once in a while, it's like you eat rice every day, and once in a while you might want to have a piece of cake, something sweet. So if you are able to 4 times your money once in a while, why not? Have some excitement, have some fun. But is this really possible? Okay, we don't want to end up losing 4 times our money instead. Right, so jokes aside, this is about Manulife US REIT. Okay, in recent videos I talk about Manulife US REIT quite often as an example of what could go wrong, and as an example of what to avoid, but could this possibly be an opportunity, right? And if you see on the screen, we have a couple of videos which I produced a few months ago, and the second one says 4 times your money with this investment listed in Singapore, and that was published more than 3 months ago, and it was really a cheeky response to a research paper published by an analyst about Manulife US REIT, and the paper ended with a target price that was like 4 times that of the market price for the REIT at the time. So the target price was 4 times the price of the market price. So basically, if the analyst was right, and then you had bought that REIT, Manulife US REIT back then, you could see quite a lot of money being made. But of course, now we know that has not happened. In fact, it has gone the other way. But please don't be offended now if you are the analyst who wrote that that research paper. It's all in good fun, and we're all learning We're all learning. I'm still learning, so I'm not a guru. I'm just mental. But as far back as like half a year ago, I blog and I also produce videos about US office REITs and whether was I buying, and I had many considerations, and in the end I said I would not be buying, best to avoid, and that decision has turned out to be the correct one. By now we know that Manulife US REIT, they have suspended dividends because they have breached financial covenant, and all their loans have been reclassified as current liabilities, which is very serious. In my video on balance sheets, a couple of videos ago maybe, we talked about liabilities, and current liabilities basically are loans which you would have to pay within 1 year. So it doesn't matter if they have loans which are due within 3 years or 4 years, they have all been reclassified as current liabilities, which means that they have to pay it within 1 year. And the manager is unable to certify or to issue any statement to say that they are able to fulfill their liabilities even if they were to distribute income to shareholders, which is why they have to suspend income distribution or dividends to shareholders. Right, and Manulife US REITs gearing ratio right now is like, I think it's almost 57%. Right, because the valuation of their properties plunged by about 15%. So even though they haven't taken on new loans, the value of their properties have plunged by 15%. Their gearing level was already quite high, very high to begin with. It was almost 50%, right? So it only took a little bit to tip them over to the other side of 50, to the higher side of 50. So gearing ratios of 57%, almost. And that's why I caution that when we invest in REITs, especially in the current environment, if they have very high gearing ratio, closer to 50%, at 45 to 50%, that kind of range, right? We have to be very careful because in fact, I would just avoid altogether, because if their valuation of properties should decline even just by a bit, it could tip them over to the other side of the number 50. And then you might have a situation like this where financial covenant is breached. The thing now is, what can Manulife US REIT do, right? There are not that many options. I mean, the manager can say many things to make things sound a bit better, or to show that they are trying to think of more solutions. But there are only two things they can do in my mind. The first one is to issue rights, which means to go to the shareholders and ask them for more money to pay down its debt, to bring the gearing level back down to 45%, for example. And the shareholders, if they don't want their interest to be diluted, would have to cough up more money. And I really don't like rights issues like this, because the money doesn't go to generate more money for shareholders. The money just goes it just goes. Yeah, so you basically just cough out more money, give to the REIT, and they just use it to pay off some debt, and it doesn't generate more income for you. So to me, it sounds like a loss, but of course it isn't as simple as that. The second thing that the REIT could do, which might be the lesser of two evils, is to find some investors, white knights, if you like that phrase, to recapitalize the REIT, which means they come in and they pump money into the REIT and buy a big chunk of the REIT for cheap. They'll probably try to squeeze and get a big discount, and that would dilute the current shareholder base, but it would save the REIT and keep it afloat, right? So can this be an opportunity? The way I see it, if they choose to recapitalize the REIT by way of having white knights, then there could be an opportunity, but we have to see what happens when the time comes, because that was what happened to AIM's APAC REIT back during the global financial crisis. Back then, it had a different name, right? MacArthur Cook Industrial REIT, it was called. And that's a huge problem because credit wasn't readily available. And so AIM's Financial Services and AMP Partners came in and recapitalized the REIT, and obviously they got a big chunk of the REIT for cheap. And at that point, I saw value because the entire REIT was in distress. Nobody wanted to touch it. But after it was recapitalized, it was fine, right? The REIT's alive. It's not going to die. So it was still cheap, and that was a good time to buy a lot of the REIT, right? And so if the same thing should happen to Manulife US REIT, then possibly is an opportunity, because the circumstances surrounding AIMS APAC REIT back then were different from the circumstances surrounding Manulife US REIT now. There is a chance that the valuation of properties held by Manulife US REIT could continue to see a decline, whereas that wasn't the case with properties held by AIMS APAC REIT back during the global financial crisis, right? Because of structural challenges faced by Manulife US REIT, right? So there are too many things I don't know. So I think some people might say, hey, but AK, you made money from AIMS APAC REIT, and not only that, you made money from Saizen REIT also, remember? Yes, Saizen REIT was also a distressed REIT. Back when I got into it, it was also a distressed REIT. I wasn't interested in the REIT during its IPO. I thought it was overpriced. But of course, all of us know that IPO stands for it's probably overpriced. And in the case of Saizen REIT, I thought it was overpriced. I only got interested in the REIT when the price plunged. And it was in distress. It had a similar situation as Manulife US REIT now, in the sense that they also had problems with their loans, and they had to restructure, and they had to sell some of their properties in order to reduce their loans to satisfy the lenders, right? So back then, people were avoiding Saizen REIT because they say, oh no, he owes so much money, and then he had to sell his properties in order to pay his lenders. But there's a very big difference between Manulife US REIT now and Saizen REIT back then. At the time, Saizen REIT, when they were selling their properties to repay their lenders, they were able to sell those properties at a premium to valuation, which means that the valuation or the value of the properties that they held were very conservatively reflected in their books, right? So they were able to sell the properties, right, the buildings at like 13%, 15% above valuation. So that told me one thing, their book value was too conservative. Second thing, there was a real demand for their assets, and people were willing to pay a premium to buy their assets. So those 2 points alone set Saizen REIT apart from the current day Manulife US REIT. If Manulife US REIT should exhibit the same characteristics as Saizen REIT back then, I will be buying Manulife US REIT now like there's no tomorrow, right? But that's not the case, right? In fact, it seems that the valuation of Manulife US REIT's properties were too optimistic, and now it could actually go down even further, right? So I just answered the last point that you see on the screen, and what would I do? I wouldn't touch Manulife US REIT with a 5-feet pole, not now. And really, you have to wait and see what happens next. I would wait and see what happens next. I mean, I don't have an interest in the REIT, and I don't see any reason why I should take a chance, right? But what if you really want to take a chance? You say, oh, no, I think everything will turn out okay, maybe it'll be another AIMS APAC REIT. Well, then I would say recall the pyramid. Remember the pyramid that I shared in my blog about how I would size my positions, and right at the top of the pyramid, the tip is the letter S, which stands for speculative position. So even though Manulife US REIT during better times will be considered an investment for income, which is at the base of the pyramid, which means you'll be quite comfortable with a larger position. Now it's not even paying a dividend, so you cannot even put it in that category. It has become quite speculative. So if if anyone wants to take a chance, if I should be of the mind that I want to take a chance, then I will size it very conservatively, right? Because could be a big loss, if you plonk in your entire savings, including your kitchen sink, and things don't turn out well, yeah, that'll be too bad, right? So I remind myself, just because I made money from Oppa AK REIT, buying it when it was in distress, just because I made money in Saizen REIT, like I got back like almost $500,000 when the REIT was sold to another, I think it was sold to BlackRock or Blackstone, I can't remember, one of the black things lah. I got back about $500,000. Of course, not all of its capital gain, as quite a big chunk of it was return of capital, plus the fact that I got many years of high yield from the REIT. So it was a very good investment, turned out to be a very good investment. Of course, Oppa AK REIT, like I said a few times before, my investment in the REITs already free of cost. I recovered my capital, and the income that is distributing to me now every year is actually free money. Just because I had those good experience with buying distressed REITs in the past, it doesn't mean that simply buying distressed REITs now would yield the same positive results, right? So this is a situation where we like to say, oh, it's same, but it's different. Okay, it's not exactly the same animal, right? So that's all I want to say. And I think that about does it for this video. So if you enjoy my video, please give it a like. And till the next video, take care of yourself. If AK can do it, so can you. I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.